Straight ahead on 12 News, a jobs picture with contrasting views. Why some believe the jobs market isn't treating everyone equally. Then the popularity of regional Minnesota parks. So popular, in fact, the numbers may surprise you. But first, a man killed in Brooklyn Park by a drunken driver. The suspect is no stranger to driving drunk. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Charges are now filed against a suspected drunken driver accused of hitting and killing a man in Brooklyn Park.
And that fatal crash occurred on Monday night at this intersection of Zane Avenue and Brookdale Drive. The victim was crossing Zane Avenue when he was hit. The criminal complaint says the driver kept going. Police tracked down this man, Anthony Frosto of St. Paul, about a mile away from the crash site. A preliminary breath test revealed his blood alcohol level was .20, more than 2.5 times the legal limit. Frosto made his first court appearance this afternoon on charges of criminal vehicular homicide and failure to stop. Court records show Frosto has a history of drunk driving. He has 4 previous drunken driving convictions. As for the victim in this case, we are awaiting his identity from the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office. Attempting to find a job if you're unemployed or underemployed can be a challenging and time-consuming task.
And in Minnesota, that's statistically even more difficult if you're a person of color. As Delane Cleveland reports, state officials hope to reverse that trend.
If finding a job is at the top of your wish list,
well, here's my resume. Let me show you that first.
Then Hennepin Technical College in Brooklyn Park was the place to be on Thursday, as 129 companies from a variety of industries set up shop for the second annual Diversity Career Fair.
I hear good things about your company from a corporate perspective.
Brooklyn Park resident Michael Lopez is one of the many job seekers to make the rounds.
Do you all offer any year-round employment?
He's a part-time Metro Transit bus driver, but he's attempting to find a full-time job in the transportation sector.
It's a very good job, don't get me wrong, but it's a little monotonous, and I'm looking for something to help me use more of my brain cells more regularly.
While Lopez currently has a job, he admits it's difficult for other African Americans to find employment.
So there's situations like that I think happen regularly, where African Americans in general show up and aren't taken seriously.
According to the Department of Employment and Economic Development, Minnesota's unemployment rate last year was at 4.9%, but for African Americans, that number was at 15%.
At DEED, we're specifically focusing on that current unemployment rate and what can we do to help individuals get connected to either training or a job.
One immediate answer is this career fair. But in the long run, state officials say multiple factors need to be addressed.
Education, transportation, poverty, child care. These are the things that Governor Dayton has been very focused on while he's been in office.
Give you a diverse idea of my background.
Until those efforts bear fruit, people like Lopez will have to rely on their experience.
You got to door knock and door knock. Out of 100, you might get 2, but at least you got 2.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
State employment officials say the industries where they see the most job growth are in construction and healthcare. Development plans for a Hy-Vee grocery store in New Hope are now headed to the City Council. The New Hope Planning Commission pored over the plans for nearly 2 hours Wednesday night. The Iowa-based grocery store is building on the site of the former Kmart. That site will also be home to a gas station. In addition, Hy-Vee introduced plans for a new restaurant concept called Market Grill that would be a competitor of nearby Applebee's. A city plaza area is also planned for the site.
Tonight, residents of Brooklyn Park will learn more about candidates for mayor and city council. A candidate forum will start at 6 p.m. at Brooklyn Park City Hall. Tonight's forum will focus on issues important to minorities and will be streamed live on Brooklyn Park's website. A primary election will be held August 12th, since there are more than 2 candidates running for mayor and also an East District council seat.
A reorganization is underway at Golden Valley City Hall. The city is creating a new position called the Physical Development Director. That person will be the second highest paid person in the city behind the city manager, with a starting salary of $110,000. The City Council approved the change Wednesday night by a 4-1 vote. Mayor Shep Harris believes the new position will improve efficiency and better focus on economic development. The Twin Cities has long been known for its abundance of parks and trails.
And as Eric Nelson found out, regional parks are trending up these days.
The popularity of the regional parks is amazing.
Yes, park popularity is exploding. Regional parks in the Twin Cities have a magnetic pull, tugging in plenty of visitors.
I think a lot of it is people are staying home a little bit more. They're doing the staycations and the low cost of the regional parks. It's pretty neat.
According to the Met Council, regional parks drew a whopping 47 million people last year. By comparison, 40 million visited the globally famous Mall of America, which is proof that nature's parks are just as cool as amusement parks.
I'm shocked by that, but I think it's amazing. I think people love being outdoors, and in summer, you know, here in Minnesota, you got to take advantage of the summer. So I think it's fantastic.
Absolutely. It's a good experience, to get outdoors and have, living in Minnesota, having all these opportunities.
Elm Creek Park Reserve is one of the jewels in the regional system.
I've been coming here for years. I've been coming here since I was a little girl.
Elm Creek and other parks have a variety of options, including gigantic, ultra-cool play areas for kids and beaches where they can stay cool.
It's quite a spectacular park, and it's nice.
Biking, jogging, or walking can also be done with nature as a backdrop.
You get away from all the traffic on the highway and stuff like that. It's really peaceful out there, just enjoying the nice cool wind.
Elm Creek here has actually tripled in visitation in the last 10 years. We are approaching 1 million visits here at Elm Creek.
Man, that's awesome.
Another reason people flock to these parks
That's why I have the dog with me.
is the fun factor.
Yes, yep.
No one gets bored.
There's always something to do here. It's the more of, okay, it's time to go, and they don't want to leave.
On the trails in Maple Grove, I'm Eric Nelson, Channel 12 News.
And another reason for increasingly higher attendance is that some parks, such as Elm Creek, make snow in the winter to lure in snowboard and also ski fanatics. Year-round fun over there.
Definitely.
Coming up, the gardening season isn't over yet. We'll have some tips for planting perennials.
And then later in sports, with the fall sports season about to begin, meet the new activities director at Maple Grove High School.
But first, a forecast that actually could use some rain. Another dry, sunny day in the forecast for tomorrow. We can still claim them, can't we? Surly Brewing has just been named one of the 50 best craft brewers in the country by the Daily Meal. The Cynic Ale really had the beer enthusiasts hopping. Although Surly is moving to a new destination brewery in Minneapolis, it will still have its operations in Brooklyn Center. In fact, it's the Brooklyn Center location that will experiment in making new types of beer. The Minneapolis brewery, by the way, is expected to open early next year. It is hard to believe, but we are only 6 weeks away from the first day of fall.
But the growing season is far from over. In the garden today, we discuss and discover why there's still time to put in perennials. At Dundee Nursery in Plymouth,
we're about to start putting that out pretty soon.
gardeners are already thinking about fall.
Fall pumpkins coming in. We have the decorations that go with the scarecrows.
But John Henning says don't let that stop you from filling up your garden with perennials.
There's still plenty of them out there. We're still bringing product in, so we're trying to keep demand up there. There's a lot of landscapers out there that are still fulfilling jobs. We're weeks out.
Planting perennials in your garden in the spring requires less fuss because the days are shorter and cooler.
They're not drying out quite so quick.
If you do plant perennials now, you have to give them a little more TLC.
Make your holes a little bigger than you actually need them. Put a little bit of compost in the hole with the soil you're mixing it. Water it really well to get all the air pockets out, and then just keep watching them. We can still plant it as long as you're aware that you have to be there to water them. You can't plant them today and go on vacation for 2 weeks and leave these poor plants alone without water.
But John says gardeners should be thinking in that frame of mind anyway. Remember June? Record rainfall during the first 6 months of the year meant gardeners got a break from watering. Now we're moving in the opposite direction.
If you look down in your yard, it's drying out. You're starting to, the clay soils are starting to separate a little bit and break up.
To make the most of your water, John says water plants in the morning. Water plants at the base so water gets in the soil and not on the plant. And finally, put down compost or mulch to keep the soil cool and keep the moisture in. As long as plants get the water they need, you can plant whatever you want.
You can plant a lot of things up till ground freeze. Perennials you might want to get by the middle of October so they have a little more chance to root out.
And don't count out those annuals either. If you want that pop of color, look for varieties of kale and pansies to be out there on store shelves soon. Still time to get out there in the garden.
Too late.
Can do it. Coming up, how Hennepin County employees are drawing out their inner artist.
But first, the latest and greatest products in the world of fishing. Terry Tuma has tips next in sports with John Jacobson.
Only 6 weeks till fall, but fall sports will start much faster than that.
That's right.
And you got a new athletic director, time to get up to speed in Maple Grove, right?
Yeah, and he's had a few weeks to get on the job, but now the athletes will start streaming back into school next week. It is getting to be a busy time in local high school as athletes register for their fall sport. One school in the area has a new person leading the athletic department. Lambert Brown started last month as the activities director at Maple Grove High School. He replaces Ron Zupfe, who retired in June. Brown comes to Maple Grove after 4 years at Chaska High School, where he coached and also served as a teacher and a dean at the school. Now Brown said he is ready for the next challenge in his career.
I'm excited. You know, I feel extremely privileged and just blessed to get an opportunity to do it. You know, I've been able to do what I love, luckily, for my whole career. I've been able to work with kids and coach and do that for the last part of my career. And I'm kind of excited to move into this new realm and work with you know, athletics and activities and kind of get a chance to work with an entire school building.
Brown was a head football coach for the past 6 years, 2 at Fridley High School, and the past 4 at Chaska. The Hawks finished 11-1 a year ago. He admits he'll definitely miss coaching, but is looking forward to working with students and staff in a variety of activities.
I'm really excited just to get to work with a lot of different kids on a lot of different programs and just see all the great things that students are doing. And I'm lucky I get to do it in a great high school, in a really good community. So I'm very excited about that.
Fall sports registration at Maple Grove, as well as the other 2 District 279 high schools, will all be done online this year. Practice in most sports begins Monday across the state. The state VFW baseball tournament is underway in Brainerd. A local team is off to a good start. Champlin Park won its first game this morning 11-8 against Austin. That puts the Rebels into the second round this afternoon against Grand Rapids in a game that is just getting underway at this taping of 12 News. We'll have highlights of that game and more on Champlin Friday afternoon starting at 4 on 12 News. In this week's Channel 12 fishing tip, Terry Tuma takes a break from fishing to tell us about some new products coming on the market in the fishing and boating world. Here's Terry with more.
I just returned from ICAST, which was held in Orlando, Florida this year. This is a fishing show, so to speak, ICAST. And the fishing show is not just fishing tackle, rod and reels and line. It's canoes, it's kayaks, it's trailer accessories, boating accessories, on and on, with whatever pertains to the outdoors and the fishing world. And just to briefly talk about some of the products, a very upbeat show this year, by the way. One of the best shows I've been at for several years. And Berkeley has introduced what's called Iron Silk because of customer demand. A line that fits between XL and XT, low memory, easy, smooth casting. And Eagle Claw has come out with scented hooks this year. Rapala has now introduced more of the scatter wrap models, if you will, new colors on some of their crankbaits. They added some colors, skirts to different color skirts, I should say, to Terminators, to spinner baits. Daiwa, new rod and reels, or what really caught my eye was a glass rod under the name Tatula for cranking. Waterwolf, a camera that, this is what really caught my eye, a camera that goes on your line. It's small, and you can actually, you lower it obviously in the water, just ahead of your lure, maybe 3 or 4 feet, and you can see the fish strike, you see what your lure is, what it's doing. Just a lot of neat new products out there. And then also what's called Sunsect. This is a product that's been used in the military for a number of years. This year they have just introduced it into the general public. It's a sunscreen and insect repellent. This is a home run. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll be back on the fishing trail. We'll talk about some fishing tips.
Thanks, Terry. And when we were doing that tip, Terry's like, there's so many things I could talk about. They had to kind of narrow it down, but there's a lot of fun stuff coming out there.
That sunscreen and bug spray is pretty handy. I can see that going over pretty well. All right. Thanks, John. Up next, celebrating our inner artist.
He is not drawing on the job, but you'll meet a Hennepin County worker who is quite the artist in his spare time. want to take a minute or two to do a little bragging about one of our own.
Congratulations goes out to reporter Sonia Goins, who this week completed a half marathon in Dublin, Ireland. In order to run, Sonia had to raise more than $6,000 for the Crohn's and the Colitis Foundation of America. She raised the money and she completed the race only 3 weeks after being hospitalized for Crohn's. Sonia has had Crohn's disease since 1985, but she doesn't let that keep her down. In fact, she often tells us she has Crohn's, but Crohn's doesn't have her. So congratulations goes out to Sonia. We're proud of you.
Go, Sonia, go.
That's
always.
Right. And now, art that shows a different side of government.
That's right. It shows the face of Hennepin County's workforce. As a Hennepin County employee, Harold Torres processes cases for food stamps and other cash assistance programs. But there's always more to each one of us than our day jobs.
I taught myself to draw when I was 8, and I did it reading comic books.
Harold's pencil drawings of his favorite superheroes, Spider-Man and Captain America, are on display this month in Minneapolis, along with dozens of other paintings, photographs, and poetry, all done by Hennepin County employees.
We have the same things that everyone else has as far as needs, wants, and I think it puts maybe a face on government.
It helps show Hennepin County employees as people, shows that there's more to them than the work that the public sees.
For Harold, drawing is an outlet and stress reliever.
It helps me kind of decompress, helps me gather my thoughts, kind of unscramble the day.
On display at the Hennepin County Government Center, this collection of art shows a different side of the workforce, while reaching all walks of people who pass through the halls of this government building.
It is a cross-section of a lot of people, so we have to make that, take that into account and have it appropriate, but I hope entertaining and educational at the same time.
And the artwork is on display at the Government Center in downtown Minneapolis until August 27th. Some really good pieces there, including some jewelry as well. So you pass through, it's worth a look. And
very talented
just process
bunch.
your paper. That's right.
That's right. Very good.
That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Community Corner is coming up next.